Welcome to another video from explainingcomputers.com. This time we're going to look at two retro mobile computers that both run the Windows CE embedded operating system. Specifically, we're going to look at this, which is a Packard-Bell EasyMate 800, which still runs very well indeed, and also this, which is an LG Phenom, which is slightly less happy when you turn it on. So I think we'll start with the Packard-Bell. Right, here we have the Packard-Bell EasyMate 800, which came out I think in 1998. And if I open it up, you'll see it's basically an early form of netbook. And this particular computer is one I saved from a skip quite a few years ago. It was being thrown away. And as I said already, it runs the Windows CE operating system. And Windows CE is an embedded form of Windows, which means that it runs from a ROM chip pre-installed on the device rather than being installed on a conventional drive. The processor inside is a VR4121 from the MIPS 4000 series, and it runs at 131 MHz. The display here is 9.4 inches, it's a DSTN LCD touchscreen with a resolution of 800 by 600, and it can display 65536 colours. It's a resistive touchscreen and can be worked either using a fingernail or using a stylus. And there is a stylus here which slots into the case. There we are, stylus is always ready for use just below the keyboard. And talking of the keyboard, it's pretty good. It's about an 80% size, I think. Very nice travel. Very much this puts the keyboards on many modern computers to shame, certainly on modern mobile devices. The only thing I've got against it is it doesn't have any function keys because it's got keys for accessing particular Windows CE applications. If we close the thing up and flick it over like that, it's good and solid, isn't it? You'll see that under here there is a little cover which provides access to the RAM and the ROM. So I thought we'd just take a look, just bring in our screwdriver and take out the one screw necessary. Always good to look inside older hardware. It's good to look inside new hardware as well, but old is somehow more exciting, isn't it? And if we look in there, there we are. There is the ROM. This is a 24 megabyte ROM that contains Windows CE and various applications, as we'll see a bit later. 24 megabytes for everything. Makes you think, doesn't it? And over here we've got the RAM. The RAM here is 32 megabytes. And like on many early mobile computers, the RAM here is used both for program operations, or those you're programmed into when you're actually doing things in your data, but it's also used to provide a RAM drive for data storage. The main storage drive on this machine is actually a RAM disk. So it was very important on a computer like this not to let your batteries go entirely flat, because if you did, you lost all your data on your RAM drive and you also had to reconfigure Windows CE. And talking of the battery, we can see the battery down here. You can remove the battery. Can't remove batteries on all computers today, can you? And this gives us about 8 hours of use, and that's a real 8 hours of use, at least it was back then. It still does about 3 hours of use today, I've been finding out in my experiments. So we haven't really progressed in terms of battery life on mobile devices. We've just got more powerful devices rather than having devices with a better battery life. If we look at the right of the EasyMate, we can see in addition to the stylus slotting in here, we've got a jack for a phone to plug in, because this is a machine well before Wi-Fi and all that type of stuff. The network connectivity here is by plugging in to the modem on this device, which is a 56.1 kilobits per second modem. Oh, how slow things used to be when we connected to the internet and things like that. And up here we've got some additional storage. We could use a compact flash card, which will plug in there. If I can get that in like that. I used to like using compact flash cards on mobile devices, and I think there's actually an ejector thing here to get it out again as well. Can we get it out? We can. So clearly, most of the time you wouldn't store all of your data on your RAM drive, you'd store it in something like a compact flash card. If we turn our attention to the left edge, you'll see we've got a barrel jack for power. We've got a 3.5mm audio jack. That's a radical idea on a mobile device, isn't it? And we've got here this slot. This is a PCMCIA expansion slot. This used to be so common on mobile devices and indeed on laptops. Finally, if we look at the back of a device, you'll see we've got an IRDA interface here, an infrared data interface, and we've got two little covers. It's this thing is just so much better built than things today. They bother to put things like covers over the ports. And if we open up the first of these, like that, you'll see we've got a proprietary connector here, which is a VGA output. And sadly, I don't have the adapter needed to take that to a normal VGA connector, which is a great shame for the next part of this video. So let's move on to the second little door. What's behind this little door, you cry? Well, if we open up this one, you'll see we've got an RS232 serial port. Again, looks quite proprietary in terms of connector there to me. And here we've got a USB port, which I'm pretty certain is a USB 1.1 port on device of this age. So there we are. That is our overview of this 20-year-old hardware. So I think it's now time for a demo of Windows CE. So here we are in Windows CE on the EasyMate 800, and as you can see, it looks very like a Windows 3.1. And because it's running from a ROM, we can turn it on and off very easily. If I just press the power button on the machine, just flicks it off, and we can flick it straight on again. And that instant on functionality was one of the things I really liked about Windows CE. As you can see down the edge of the screen, we've got various applications. I could control these with the stylus. Let's say launch, for example, Pocket Excel. There we are. We've got a version of Excel running on this. I'll go and just close that down with the stylus. We've got a Pocket Word. Let's do it with the keyboard to save getting in front of the screen for you. And there we are, Pocket Word. I think there's some sample files we can try here. You can see what's going on. There we are. There's a test document which just shows you a document which is on the Word in Windows CE. It was a very useful program. It worked perfectly well to do a lot of basic word processing. And in fact, you could bring in quite a big document. I found this document on the compact flash card I plugged in earlier, which is from, I think, 2008, so it's quite recent really, but it does show you can load in, if you wait a little while, quite large document. It's having a think, isn't it? In a very Windows 3.1 type of look there, with a little hourglass going around and around and around. But here we are running a large document on Windows CE, and as you can see, it's a little bit time to catch up. The screen's also a bit slow, but it does basically work. So let's just close that down. There's a web browser over here. Let's run up Internet Explorer, which obviously can't go anywhere because this machine isn't online. And you might notice the sample page here is only this deep, and that's because a lot of Windows CE machines were handheld with quite sort of not very deep screens. So that's why this only comes to the top of the page. If we go down to the Start menu, we can flick through all the software on the machine. You can see we've got programs here, quite a lot of accessories, communications tools, games, Office, which included not just Pocket Word and Pocket Excel, but a PowerPoint viewer and Pocket Access. And we've also got Pocket Outlook, and as you can see, Internet Explorer and Windows Explorer. And under Settings, we can go, for example, to Control Panel. And from here, I think, we'll go across to Launch System. And here in the first tab, you can see how memory is allocated between the RAM drive, the storage memory, and program memory, the memory you can load your program files and data into. So you can actually take this slider and move it around to change the relative allocation of that 32 megabytes of memory. If we look in device, we can see the processor type and the memory, and the fact we've got a compact flash card plugged in. If we look in system, we can see this is Microsoft Windows CE Handheld PC Edition version 3.01, which is based upon Windows CE 2.11. Microsoft naming conventions were tricky even back then, 20 years ago. You can see the applications in ROM on the machine, which we're just looking at. And if we look in About, presumably it tells us about copyrights and things like that. So there we are. That's Windows CE running on the Packard-Bell EasyMate 800. So, I thought we'd now take a look at a smaller handheld Windows CE device, and specifically the LG Phenom. And if I open this thing up, you'll see that the keyboard is very much like a keyboard on a calculator. Nicely spaced keys, but rather small, not brilliant to type on here. And the processor inside here is from Hitachi. It's an SH3 running at 80 megahertz. And the screen here is 7.1 inches, it's a 640 by 240 pixels, and it's a monochrome LCD touchscreen. And so once again, stylus control is the default, and we have a stylus down here at the front of the machine, handily available, again, just below the keyboard. If we flick this thing shut and turn it over, once again we'll find underneath we've got a little cover, and again we'll just take a look inside. And there we are. And as you can see, once again, we've got two modules, a ROM module, here is 16 megabyte ROM, and here 8 megabytes of RAM. So if we cut back to the wider shot and maybe switch the machine around, you can see the battery compartment is down here. Just unlock that and open it. You'll see that right now inside the machine, we've got two AA batteries. And this did come with a rechargeable battery. Here it is, which is basically two AA NiMis. It's in slightly bad condition. There's various chemical corrosion at either end, so I haven't put this into the machine. But it was quite nice. You could actually use this as a rechargeable battery, or you could flick to your own AA batteries, particularly on a device that required battery power to keep its RAM disk intact. Although that said, there was also here a backup battery. If I just open that thing up, you'll see this is a little CR2032, which we see in so many computers still to this day, nice and shiny there, and that just makes sure your RAM drive was backed up even when you were changing your batteries. All these batteries were actually flat. I'll also just show you under here, because it's the easiest way to show you. If I flip the eject thing here, you'll see I can take out a PC card, a PCMCIA card. This is a modem, a 56K modem, which you would plug into again, your phone line, as we would on the previous device. I remember this was the first computer I ever used to buy groceries online. I was once quite ill and I could use this thing to buy bananas and things like that, which was very good. I should just say I actually did use the LG Phenom. The previous computer we looked at, the EasyMate 800, was one somebody else had and I saved from a skip. This was a device I bought myself. It wasn't the most successful of my handheld computers I ever owned. I didn't have anywhere near as much use out of this as I did out of my, for example, Atari portfolio, which I've looked at previously on my channel, or out of my Scion 7. But it seemed a good idea at the time. It never quite worked for me. Anyway, if we look at the end of the machine, you'll see we've got an audio jack, earphone mic jack, 2.5mm, quite unusually. Next to that, a voice memo button, and next to that, a proprietary connector, which gives us a RS-232 serial interface and a VGA interface, but again, by a proprietary connector I haven't got. And then just along from that, because some of you will notice it, there's a blanking plate here, because I think on some models of the LG Phenom, there was a built-in modem, so you could plug in your phone line here. That's not available on this particular model. And if we flick around to show you the other end, there's not much to see, because clearly we've already looked at the PC card down here, so all there is here is the DC input jack. Finally, if we look at the back of the device, you'll see it's devoid of almost anything, save for an IRDA interface port here, an infrared port down there. But if we look at the front, we do find that in addition to the stylus, which is down here, which we've looked at already, will it come out again? Yes, there's our exciting stylus, clicks in like that. We've also got here a compact flash card port. We just flick out the little cover and you can put a compact flash card in there. And again, remember that's important because the main storage here is on a RAM drive, which will have its data lost if power disappears, but storage will be permanent on our compact flash card. Right, let's have a demo of Windows CE on the LG Phenom. I'll press the power button. It'll come up with the lovely instant on functionality. But when it comes to functionality, this PC, as I said at the start of the video, is a bit unwell. And in particular, the stylus doesn't work. Doesn't matter what I do with the stylus, it doesn't work on this computer. So I'll have to run my demo from the keyboard, but I think I can do that. If I press the Windows key there, we can bring up the start menu with various things inside it. Lots and lots of programs, various accessories there. Got to have a calculator, haven't you? Fax programs, communications programs there to link to other devices. Games, Solitaire is there. You've got to have Solitaire on a Windows computer, at least you did in the past. Office, we've got Pocket Excel, PowerPoint and Word. And then we've also got Pocket BizCalc, Pocket Finance and Pocket Outlook. Lots and lots of Pocket stuff on this machine. And of course the Internet, which is what Microsoft labeled Explorer for a while, Internet Explorer. And then of course Windows Explorer. And if we go down to maybe a settings, go into that, and we'll go into the control panel. There we are. It'll come up. Oh, it looks so much like Windows 3.1, doesn't it? And let's go to the system. We're down there. There we are. And we will see here the basic spec here. This is a Windows CE 2.0, which I think came out in 1997. We can see our RAM there. And if I work across the screen, you can see as on the previous machine we looked at, the EasyMate 800, we can configure how much RAM we use for memory storage and how much we give to programs. So let's just come out of that. And I think if I use the Alt key, I should be able to get to File and Close. And I just want to try out a particular application. I thought we'd try something I know will work, which is the Microsoft Voice Recorder, not least because it runs from a button on the side of a device, so I don't need a mouse to make it work. So let's try it. I'll press the button. This is a recording being made on the LG Phenom. And there we are. Shall we see if it works?
This is a recording being made on the LG Phenom.
Excellent. That's given us a great demo of Windows CE 2.0. Computers like these were always minority hardware. This said, they played their role in the evolutionary journey which has delivered us today's mobile devices, and their operating system, Windows CE, is still with us in the form of Windows Embedded Compact 2013, and that's still in use on some hardware today. Things like some point of sales terminals and industrial controllers still run in Windows Embedded Compact 2013, which was updated as recently as March 2019. But now that's it for another video. If you've enjoyed what you've seen here, please press that like button. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe, and I hope to talk to you again very soon.